Letter 26. It's only a short time since I was telling you I was in sight of old age. Now I'm afraid I may have left old age behind me altogether. Some other term would be more in keeping now with my years, or at least my present physical state, since old age connotes a period of decline, not debility. Put me in the list of the decrepit, the ones on the very brink. However, I congratulate myself, mind you, on the fact that my age has not, so far as I'm aware, brought any deterioration in my spirit, conscious as I am of the deterioration in my constitution. Only my vices and their accessories have decayed. The spirit is full of life, and delighted to be having only limited dealings with the body. It has thrown off a great part of its burden. It's full of vigor, and carrying on an argument with me on the subject of old age, maintaining that these are its finest years. Let's accept what it says, and let it make the most of its blessings. It tells me to start thinking and examine how far I owe this serenity and sobriety to philosophy, and how far I owe it simply to my years, and to investigate with some care what things I really am refusing to do and what I'm simply incapable of doing, and it's prepared to accept whatever I'm really pleased to find myself incapable of doing as equivalent to refusing to do them, and what cause can there be for complaint, after all, in anything that was always bound to come to an end fading gradually away? What is troubling about that? Nothing, you may say, could be more troubling than the idea of our wasting and perishing away, melting out of existence, one may aptly call it, since we aren't struck down all of a sudden but worn away, every day that passes diminishing in some degree our powers. Moving to one's end through nature's own gentle process of dissolution, is there a better way of leaving life than that? Not because there is anything wrong with a sudden, violent departure, but because this gradual withdrawal is an easy route. Anyway, here's what I do. I imagine to myself that the testing time is drawing near, that the day that is going to see judgment pronounced on the whole of my past life has actually arrived, and I take a look at myself and address myself in these terms: all that I've done or said up to now counts for nothing. My showing to date, besides being heavily varnished over, is of paltry value and reliability as a guarantee of my spirit. I'm going to leave it to death to settle what progress I've made. Without anxiety, then, I'm making ready for the day when the tricks and disguises will be put away and I shall come to a verdict on myself, determining whether the courageous attitudes I adopt are really felt or just so many words, and whether or not the defiant challenges I've hurled at fortune have been mere pretense and pantomime. Away with the world's opinion of you, it's always unsettled and divided. Away with the pursuits that have occupied the whole of your life. Death is going to deliver the verdict in your case. Yes, all your debates and learned conferences, your scholarly talk and collection of maxims from the teachings of philosophers, are in no way indicative of genuine spiritual strength. Bold words come even from the timidest. It's only when you're breathing your last that the way you've spent your time will become apparent. I accept the terms, and feel no dread of the coming judgment. That's what I say to myself, but assume that I've said it to you as well. You're younger than I am, but what difference does that make? No count is taken of years. Just where death is expecting you is something we cannot know, so, for your part, expect him everywhere. I was just intending to stop, my hand considering its closing sentence, but the accounts have still to be made out in this letter issued with its traveling expenses. You may assume that I won't be announcing the source I intend borrowing from, you know whose funds I'm drawing on. Give me a fraction more time and payment will be made out of my own pocket. In the meantime Epicurus will oblige me with the following saying: rehearse death, or, the idea may come across to us rather more satisfactorily if put in this form: it is a very good thing to familiarize oneself with death. You may possibly think it unnecessary to learn something which you will only have to put into practice once. That is the very reason why we ought to be practicing it. We must needs continually study a thing if we are not in a position to test whether we know it. Rehearse death. To say this is to tell a person to rehearse his freedom. A person who has learned how to die has unlearned how to be a slave. He is above, or at any rate beyond the reach of, all political powers. What are prisons, warders, bars to him? He has an open door. There is but one chain holding us in fetters, and that is our love of life. There is no need to cast this love out altogether, but it does need to be lessened somewhat so that, in the event of circumstances ever demanding this, nothing may stand in the way of our being prepared to do at once what we must do at some time or other.
Thank you. Create your own audio using xnotebook.in.